Hello everyone, welcome to a video on a free and clear plan. This is a follow-up video to another one I did on the subject of two financial games that we're playing as real estate investors and just in wealth building in general. And my proposal was that we're actually playing two different games. We're out there trying to survive, so survival, that's one game, and you know, this is putting food on the table, this is paying your bills on a day-to-day basis. You know, how do you do that? Where do you make the income to do that? You have a job, you maybe buy and sell houses, you wholesale houses. And on the other hand, you also try to keep your expenses low and find ways to save money and not spend as much. So that's the game we play of survival, and some people call that the rat race. So you're constantly out there. If you're not saving any money and you stay in this survival game forever, you're making money, using it all to pay bills. You're making money, using it all, and then having to start back over and over again, like running on a rat wheel. Not where we want to stay forever. And the way we get off of that rat wheel eventually is to also play another game, to simultaneously work on financial freedom. And so what we're teaching you in real estate investing can apply to both of these. Again, if you want to make some extra money right now and you need some extra reserves, there's some really good tools to do that, buying and selling houses and assigning deals with wholesaling. But the big picture, the thing that I really will make a difference in your life over the long run is this financial freedom game. And in this video, that's what I want to talk about a little bit more. I want to talk specifically about how do you do that using real estate investing. And I like to propose a real simple plan. And everybody's going to have a little different plan, but this one is intuitive and it can make sense. So what if, you know, in the future, at some point in the future, you owned 10 houses, and each one of these houses you owned free and clear. So what that means is you have zero debt on these 10 houses. You have no debt to pay, no mortgage payment. And I'm a visual guy, so I have to we'll draw the little house, little front door, and maybe you're in a cold area and you have a chimney too. So in this house, let's imagine that, and this is an imagination, these are real numbers that I actually use. This house rents for $1,000 per month. That's your rent. And in my area, and I know if some of you are in California and you're in higher price markets in Florida or Charleston, South Carolina, you know, the rent might be more on an average median house. But in my area, this is a house that might be worth $150,000, the full value. If it was fixed up and in really good shape, that's what you might try to sell it for. And what I'm saying is that we as a real estate investor might try to buy that house for $100,000. That's our total cost, including purchase, fix up, closing costs, and everything. So you want to, in our example here, you're going to have a cost of about $100,000 today if you bought one of these houses, and the rent's going to be $1,000 per month. And let's say when you rent it every month, you have expenses. You have management, you have taxes, you have insurance, you have maintenance, you have vacancy reserves. And again, if you do the maintenance yourself and if you do the management yourself, you should still be paying yourself for those expenses. And so we're going to allocate that much money for all those expenses. And what's left over, remember, we don't have any interest expenses because we own these houses in the future free and clear. What's left over is $600 per month. And this is a really important number in real estate investing that we'll go over a lot in other videos on analyzing deals. But what this is called is your net operating income. It's the net income left over after all your operating expenses. And this is an important number because if your plan is to own these houses free and clear, each one of these houses gives you this money. This money goes in your pocket, not the bank's pocket, and so it can support you. And you have not only one house, though, you have 10 houses. So every month you have $6,000 coming in, free and clear. And if you want to look at that on a yearly basis, times 12, that's $72,000 per year. So I want to pause and think about this, though. This is an important thing for you to visualize because this might be your future plan that you're doing all this hard work for, and this is why you're learning all this stuff, is that at some point in the future, you will own these 10 houses, which, as I've said before, managing 10 houses compared to, you know, a full-time job is nothing. This is definitely a part-time job. At the time I'm doing this video, I actually manage 60 properties. And it's not a full-time job for me, even managing those 60. I have a bookkeeper helping me do some things. But managing 10 houses and owning those free and clear can be a very part-time job during your retirement. You can travel around, you can be passive. And so from your time standpoint, very good plan. Single-family houses are a little bit easier to manage if they're well located and have good tenants. And so think about this money, though. For most people I talk to, having $6,000 per month or $72,000 per year is something that they can live with. Maybe you have some other income coming in. Maybe you're getting Social Security to supplement that. But plus or minus, for most people out there, this is going to work. And an important thing about this, if owning single-family houses, if the rent today is $1,000 and the net today is $600, there's a good chance, and there's no guarantees in life, but there's a good chance that single-family houses over time will keep up with inflation. If whatever $6,000 per month or $72,000 per year buys today, over a long period of time, in general, most nice single-family houses keep up with inflation, so that whatever the dollar's worth 20 years from now, this will be a bigger number, but it'll hopefully buy at the same or more amount of goods and services and trips and health insurance and whatever you need to pay for in the future. So just a simple little plan, and if your numbers need to be bigger than this or can be less than this, you can adjust. But I find that buying 10 houses is not a real intimidating thing for people. So how would you, let's say you have no houses right now, how are you going to get to 10 houses? And I'm going to give you a few things to jog your thinking and get you thinking about how to get to that point if you're just totally drawing a blank and saying this doesn't apply to me. And I'm going to give you 3 different scenarios simply, and maybe I'll go into some other videos, go into even more detail on some of these plans. But I'm going to give you a really conservative way to accomplish this. Plan 2 is going to be a little bit more intermediate. And then Plan 3, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive. And I say conservative. This Plan 1 will take a little bit longer. Plan 3 might be a faster one. And let's say Plan 1 was a 20 to 30 year plan. And let's say Plan 3 was a 10-year plan to accomplish, again, to start from 1.1 and go to 10 free and clear houses. So let's say with 20, you're a more conservative person, and you say, I don't really even want to borrow money. And let's say you started off with $100,000. You had saved up that over the last 15, 20 years. You had $100,000 to play with. You could go out, and remember my numbers, you could go out and buy one house today, but you wouldn't even borrow any money. You would buy the one house free and clear. And then your game plan would be to save up money. So you'd have $7,200 per year coming in, or I'm sorry, you'd have one house would have $600 per month, so $7,200 per year, and then maybe you save some other money every year. And so it might take you a couple more years, but eventually you'd save up enough money and you buy another house, and then you buy another house, and it would just kind of add up. Now, if you had a graph, I'm going to draw a graph of what these would look like, each one of these plans. You had time, and you had your goal, so the free and clear houses. You're starting right here at time 0, and you've got one house, and you're trying to get to the point where you have 10. Well, Plan 1, is probably going to be the longer plan to eventually get to the 10. It's going to be something like this. But the good part about this plan is not a lot of risk in terms of having any debt, and so it's just a more conservative plan. So lots of details we could go into there, but if you were somebody who was thinking about that, you might want to go that route. And I know people who've done this, and maybe they don't buy the $100,000 house, maybe they buy $30,000, a little bit lower end rental properties, and they buy 3 of them to start off free and clear, or double wides, or mobile homes, and they start getting income from those, and they're a little bit more management intensive, but then later on they trade up when they want to go more passive. So there are lots of cool little ways, variations on there. But if you're super conservative, don't want to own any debt, owe any debt, that's the plan. You can go that route. Let me go to Plan 2 and just say let's say you don't want to wait as long, and you're willing to take a little bit more risk. What if you took that same $100,000 you've saved up, and instead of spending all on one house, you bought 5 houses, and you put $20,000 down same numbers. Remember my house that we had a $100,000 cost. So you put $20,000 down on 5 houses. Sorry for it's a little bit messy there. And you got loans that amortized loans in 20 years. So what you've done, instead of buying the one house in the first year, you go out and are really aggressive in the first year, and you have five deals in that 1 year, put $20,000 down. You've used up all your savings at that point, but you have loans that if you just hang on for 20 years, in 20 years they'll be paid off. But remember, this was going to be a little bit faster plan. Let's say you want to do it in 15 years. You want to have this free and clear plan. Well, you could also save up more money and buy 5 more houses, and then save up some more money and start paying down those loans a little bit faster. So not necessarily as long as this one, because you're leveraging. You're using a little bit of debt leverage to do this, but fairly safe leverage, a pretty big down payment, a fixed payment, fixed interest rate, and this is a plan I've seen people make work. Worst case, pay it down in 20 years. Best, if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, save up more money and start paying down those loans a little faster. And again, these are 5 houses. You'd have to do that. You could do this again by saving up another $100,000, working hard, saving extra money every year. Maybe in several years you have that much money. Maybe you could get some partners to help come up with $100,000 and split some of the back-end profits with them. There are lots of different ways. As we talk about analyzing deals, you could put deals together that could work in this plan too. So a little bit more aggressive, and maybe this plan looks like, this is plan number 1. Maybe this plan, you're going to start off, you don't own free and clear houses, any free and clear houses yet. It's going to happen a little bit faster, and this plan number 2. So again, time, it's going to take a little bit longer here, a little bit faster to get to this 10 free and clear houses. And so let's look at a plan number 3, something that you want to do a little bit more aggressive. You say, how can I do it in 10 years? What if in the first couple of years, instead of putting $20,000 down, you split up this $100,000 and you bought 20 houses. And you put $5,000 down, $5K down on 20 houses. And you did that in a couple years, 2-year period. And so how would you do that? Most banks are going to loan you loan you money with $5,000 down. This is where you might start using seller financing, which I've done. Bought lots and lots of houses with $5,000 down or less. And then seller financing, lease options, and private money. I've had private money lenders who, as long as you buy the house cheap enough and they feel safe enough, they'll let you. I've had none of my own money in a deal. So the goal is to buy 20 houses and make sure they're really good deals, and you're going to be being more aggressive because, again, you are leveraging much more than you would be before in some of these other scenarios. But let's say you buy these 20 houses, and in 10 years, your plan is to hopefully maybe pay down some of that debt. Maybe some of these properties have appreciated in value, but you're going to take 10 of those houses and sell them. So you're going to sell 10. You're going to use the money to pay off 10. Now maybe the numbers won't work out exactly like that, but you see the scenario is I'm going to buy more houses than I need. I'm going to use leverage. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with leverage, but I'm going to use safe leverage. I'm not necessarily going to the bank. I'm using private money, seller financing, lower interest rates, and we get into lots of details about how to do this, but I'm giving you the overview here. And then you are buying more houses than you need. You pay 10 off, and at the very end by selling some of your other properties. And so this is plan number 3. And again, you start off with 0 free and clear properties, but maybe year number 10, 10 years, so that's 15 years, say that's 25 years. And then plan number 3. So again, these aren't exact plans, but I want to get you thinking and show you it's very possible. These are all things that you'll learn if you keep on looking at other videos. How do you buy deals like this? I've bought deals just like every one of these, and I know people who've done every one of these plans. Have friends who own houses free and clear from every one of these scenarios, and so I just want to show you it's possible. I want to get you thinking about it and get you excited about the fact that at some point in the future you can control your own destiny financially by working a plan and getting started. And that's the big point, the big takeaway here. If you want a free and clear plan, you might start with one and switch to another later on, but start with a plan, and the only thing guaranteed is no plan is going to go perfectly, but you start with a plan. And what do you have to do to start this plan? You've got to buy one deal. Got to get started. And so you buy one deal, but having the plan gets you in motion, gets you out of that nowhere land where you're not sure what's going on and you're confused. And so that's the point of this video. I want to get you confident that you can do this, that other people have done it, and give you some ideas on how to get started. So I'll see you in other videos, and we'll learn how to make this thing happen.